Cool.
Are we recording?
We're recording, mate.
Oh, okay. Welcome to the lounge. The lounge! Complete with cupcakes from our business executive, Anna the Spanner, who did these, slaved over them overnight. We have one for each of us. We've got loads more over there, so if I go off screen in the middle of the lounge, you'll understand why. Top team in once again with the Mad Dog himself, who was one of the stars of our Christmas night out as we went cocktail making, which was tremendous. Lord Dunkley, he didn't do too badly either. Quite frankly, I was crap. I couldn't get the mix of the ice and all the different.
You sloshed it
couldn't
in
do
and
it.
drank.
But you make a mean cup of tea. So.
I make a good cup of tea, even if it was for myself and for nobody else. So welcome to the lounge with a bevy of betting opportunities. What we're going to talk about: bit of horse racing, bit of football league, X Factor, who killed Lucy Beale. NFL is with us as well. Miss World is with us, and I've had the luck to run through all the 122 runners and riders for Miss World. Can't wait to talk about that. And of course, it's the X Factor final this weekend. No Simon Hopper, our editor, who once again has copped out of appearing on the lounge because instead he wanted to have an SEO meeting with our big boss, Mr. James Garmson. I quite frankly don't know which one is more important. I mean, I know which one's more important, Dunkers.
It's the lounge, mate.
It's the lounge.
It's the lounge.
We are the hub, the heartbeat of Easy Odds.
Indeed.
Rossi, how are you all been?
Pretty well, thanks. Not too poorly ahead from last night. I feel pretty good, yeah.
Fresh. Tell us what's happening on the side while I have a cup of tea.
What's happening on the site? Well, there's two brand new spanking companies joining Easy Odds next week. So
Well
there's
done.
2 more companies to bet with and hopefully get better odds with, as we are a price comparison website, of course. So if they're going to be offering better prices than elsewhere, then get them at easyodds.com.
Brilliant. Is that good?
That's great, yeah.
Mine's really spongy.
Do you want me to talk whilst you...
Yeah, carry on. Tell us what else is going on. Well, competitions.
No more competitions until tomorrow, whether of course it's Stato Says Challenge.
Go on, Stats.
Angus Stato Lockroom will be back with 5 more tips. Yesterday's Wednesday wager was won by Matthew Eldridge.
Oh, well done, Matthew.
Who tipped Macclesfield to win away at Aldershot, which is not easy.
Wow.
13-5 winner.
Wow.
So well done to you. You've won yourself a £10 free bet with Bet Victor.
Get in.
And now that Paul's finished his mouthful of cake, he can carry on with the lounge.
Well, let's go straight into the action. Let's go with Lord Dunkley because
Hello.
the NFL is great at the moment. It really is fantastic. And we're nearing the sharp end of the season, which is great. I know you want to talk about this game, the NFC West game between the Cardinals and the Rams, but very, very quickly,
Yeah.
the overall picture. I mean, we know you're a big Denver fan, and quite rightly so. I mean, I'd love to go to Mile High Stadium. Right?
Who wouldn't?
Oh,
It'd be
how
unbelievable.
do you see the overall outright for the Super Bowl at the moment?
Well, I'm worried, Paul. Denver at one point were 11-4 clear favourites. They had such
they
a
were.
great start to the season. Then they got turned over by the St. Louis Rams. Inexplicably, they shipped 22 points against Denver, and suddenly the makeup of the market has completely changed. Green Bay and New England are now both up there with Denver for favouritism. Green Bay are playing well. I didn't think they played particularly well on Monday night.
Right.
They were very, very high scoring in the second quarter. But I don't know. I think there's room for a surprise. I don't know what yet. I'm going to be racking my brains over Christmas to what it could be.
Oh, really?
The playoffs are going to be fantastic.
What does your heart? Your heart still tells you Denver.
My heart still does tell me Denver.
But your head says something could come from out of yonder.
Well, I was pretty certain Denver were going to win the Super Bowl this past year.
But it only takes
we all
one
know
game,
what
doesn't
happened
it?
there. Exactly. And if it happens to be in the Super Bowl, then that's just how the cookie crumbles.
Okay, Cardinals versus Rams, NFC West. Cardinals, of course, been top of that division for a long time. Just beginning to stutter, and the Rams, unbelievably, going for a 3rd consecutive shutout,
Yes.
which is unheard of in really is NFL.
Yeah. It's not like keeping a clean sheet
No.
in football.
No.
You have 4 quarters of just you can score a point off any drive. That was 3 points straight there.
Yeah.
The Rams are 6 and 7 at the moment. They've come back into a bit of form, but those shutouts, Paul, they're against the Raiders, Simon Hopper's team. Can't have them. Awful team. 52-0, and then against the Redskins last week, 24-0. And the Redskins are one of the poorest teams, and it's probably one of the poorest Redskins outfits there's ever been in the history of the franchise.
Yeah, it's very sad.
It looks terrible.
Terrible.
It was a really, despite scoring 24 points, it was a poor performance. They were very heavily reliant on their offense. They were very heavily reliant on penalties from the Redskins as well, and they gave away a lot of them, especially when the Redskins were in their territory. So they were able to capitalise, and of course this ridiculous 98-yard touchdown.
Amazing.
That was a great run. I just think they're going to struggle a lot more against an Arizona team who are 10 and 3. They're 2 and 2 on the road in their last 9 games. They've played each other already. The Rams won by 17 points. I just think the Rams were beaten by 17 points. I think Arizona can win this outright. They're in good form. They beat the Chiefs last week. It was a bit scrappy. They don't like to score much, but I think if they get under St. Louis, get under their skin, I don't think they'll need to. I think that's why I'm not playing a handicap, because I couldn't tell you either way which way it's going. Okay. But I think Arizona.
What price are we looking at?
19 to 10.
Well, that'll do it.
That's a good price for a 2-horse race.
That's not bad, and they're big rivals, so there'll be a physical matchup. Okay, so that's our first tip on the lounge.
That's tomorrow morning, so Friday morning at 1:30.
Early hours.
So hopefully you're watching this on Thursday.
Right.
If you're not, then I'll see you next week.
You can see Dunker's other tips as well on the Easy Odds website if you want to back something over the weekend as well. Now listen, we all like a bit of Miss World, don't we? As chaps, we can always dream. We can always dream for sure. If you could date a woman from any country in the world, and we all have this sort of profile of what they look like, with Scandinavian blonde hair, but what would take your fancy, Rossi? And Hannah, if you're watching this, just close your ears, okay? What would take your fancy?
Do you know what? I'm taken always just by an English rose.
That's really lovely, but obviously quite sucking up to his girlfriend. So, as far as I'm concerned, we can't have any of that. What Dunkers, yourself?
Toss up between French and American.
Oh, what about a French American?
American.
Yeah. What was it like crepe on hot dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
Canadian.
I've had a look at the betting very briefly. I mean, we've had a sort of a fun look because, I mean, how can you actually give any real tips? Miss South Africa's 9-4 favourite. There's 122 beautiful women taking place in this on Sunday evenings, but 9-4 favourite. You can't back a 9-4 favourite. Go and have a look on the Miss World website. I've given you the link on our sort of tongue-in-cheek preview and have a look. Most beautiful women, they really are. I should be so lucky. And I've gone for 3 big outsiders, but it is a fun market. But favourites don't have a very good record in the event, which is obviously it's no shock.
So who are you tipping instead of the favourite?
I've gone for Miss Curacao at 50-1 after she said her favourite book was Nice Men Don't Like Cheese. That was the translation. Honestly, Miss Aruba, who's an absolute corker. She's a brunette. Are you into brunettes? Beautiful. Ah, God bless her. And Miss Poland, whose name I can't pronounce because it's got too many Z's in it.
Is it the same girl from their Eurovision entry who was churning that butter?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That would yes. Now I'll tell you what. Yeah, that would have spread nicely. Right.
She's
So.
9-4 favourite.
So there, go and have a look at them as well. I mean, there are so many betting opportunities on Easy Odds now, and I suppose you would put this in the category of kind of reality TV, which brings us very nicely on to the X Factor and
Grand
it's the
final.
Yeah. Now, Rossi, now for anybody who's been watching this and you've had a bet through the series, I have never known an X Factor in the last 3 weeks where the prices have just gone all over the place, and all of a sudden Fleur, which is an unusual name, although I had an Auntie Fleur, she had a massive chin, is 2-5 favourite after most people thought she was going to be the outsider of the party.
Absolutely. She was the, to use a horse annotation, she was the horse at the back of the field who charged through. She was around about 10th favourite at the start when it was just down to the lives, and she steadily improved until the point where overall she offered the most range of musical talents, and fair play to her, she's done brilliantly well, and her performance last week of the Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars track that nobody seemed to know, which I was pretty shocked by, which is an absolutely brilliant song, by the way. She was brilliant.
She really was that good, yeah.
It was, Simon Cowell said that he's been doing the show for over 10 years now, and it's in his top 3 performances of all time.
Wow.
So that's a glowing endorsement. Wow. And 2 to 5 is very short. I would say if you backed her previously, and she was as big as 14 to 1 at one point in this competition, then obviously either keep with it or back to lay off if that's your thing. But at 2 to 5, if you haven't backed her, I wouldn't say that's worth a bet, because these voting competitions, it's all about popularity and how can you really gauge who's the most popular. Andrea is an interesting one in that he was favourite for so long in this competition.
He was quite short, wasn't he?
He was very short. I think at one point he was actually 5 to 6, and now he's dropped to 20 to 1. Once he's in the final 3, which doesn't seem to make any sense. He's been in the bottom 2, I think 2 of the last 3 weeks. His voice is incredible. He has got an incredible voice, but he's kind of a one-trick pony in that he has the warble voice, which does sound incredible when you sing a Mariah Carey or a Whitney Houston song, which is what his bubble is. That is his safety bubble, a diva type song.
But he can't do sax and all the stranglers, can he?
Exactly. Whereas Fleur can do pretty much everything, and Ben can do rock or blues or that type of thing.
Would you think a big part of this, the ingredient of the voting at the moment, Mad Dog, is the fact that Fleur and Ben, do you feel they're more likeable than Andrea is? I mean, she's almost like the innocent girl next door.
Yeah,
you know.
but she's also the plucky, never say die attitude, because she's been trying to get into this music career, and she's gone into competitions like this in her previous years. She's 27, 28 now, I think.
Is she that old? Really?
And she's been in bands previous. It's not worked out, and
she's got great hair.
She's got great hair. So 2 to 5 is her best price now, which, as I said previously, if you haven't backed her yet, I wouldn't now at 2 to 5. But if you're going to go for an outsider, count out Andrea and go with Ben at 11 to 4. But I do think Fleur will probably win.
Fleur with the hair, brilliant stuff. Okay, it should be a fascinating final, but not always in the finals. When they get down to will they go down to a final 2?
They will, yeah. One will leave on Saturday, and then it will be the final.
Littered though, hasn't it, with odds on favourites losing? Littered.
Yep.
Littered. Pick up your litter. Bit of horse racing for you before we go. Before we go to Dunker's, because Dunker's got some really interesting news on Lucy Beale. If you've had a bet in that particular market, very interesting what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, especially with the Christmas edition coming up as well. 7:45 at Wolves. There's a Class 2 handicap worth £45,000. A lot of prize money on the all-weather, some really good races. Maverick Wave is going to start favourite here for John Gosden, and actually beat home my selection, Solidarity, in a similar race to this last month. I think Solidarity will reverse the form because he was given a very, very easy time in that race, his comeback race, for the best part of 5 months. So Solidarity in the 7:45 at Wolverhampton Wanderers. Okay, so what we're going to talk about, we've got a bit of Lucy Beale to come to you, and we've got a bit of Football League as well. So where we go, let's do Lucy Beale now. Listen, a little birdie tells me you're going to be away for Crizzy, so you're not going to be with us next week.
No, I'm not.
So where you going off to?
Well, I've got 2 days of holiday to use up. If I'm being completely
Fair
honest.
dues. Fair dues.
Yeah,
we don't want to pay you, so take the holiday.
Watching EastEnders, of course.
What's the latest? I mean, we hear things on the grapevine. What's going to happen over Crizzy? What do you think's going to happen?
Well, over Christmas, the Carter family, which is Danny Dyer's family,
horrible bunch.
He's going to find out that his wife has been raped by his brother, who he doesn't know is his brother. Thinks it's his nephew. So he's basically going to get two gigantic shocks.
Yeah.
And he which is going to show a different side of him that we've never seen before. An angry, kind of vengeful side to him.
Right.
Which, I don't know how that would impact him in the Lucy Beale betting, but there are other surprises that are due to come, but they're not obviously not saying anything.
Okay.
It's really worth pointing out, this is only a quick 30 seconds on this pool, but it's really worth pointing out that February the 6th is coming up quite soon.
No.
It's barely, it's like 2 months away.
No.
So it's not when we started this back in July, a kind of a bit of a, what's going to happen? Or was it even before? I can't even remember.
Before.
Yeah, so at the moment, to go through it again, Jane Beale is at the top of the market. She's just been reintroduced to the show. She's trying to be peacemaker at the moment between Ian Beale, my tip for who as the killer, and Peter Beale, who is actually, it's just about to be written out of the show anyway. Oh. So that's raising a lot of questions. But he's, if anything, his price has actually gone out.
Right.
He is now 12 to 1 best price, and he was about 7 to 1. Nearer the top of the market, there's Abby Branning, who is another tip of mine, 7 to 1. She's shown herself to be, well, a bit of a bitch recently, to be honest. She's very moody, and she's quite heartless, and she's seen helping her dad clean up spots of Lucy Beale's blood.
Wow.
Of the
accomplice.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, there's Nick Cotton. Nick Cotton at 10 to 1. Never rule him out of anything, even if he is a bit. He's not really nasty.
Nothing else needs to be said. Just Nick Cotton.
Yeah, sorry, just Nick Cotton. Oh, and also Denise Fox, who was Lucy's to-be stepmother at the time of her death. She has recently gone through a really tough time with Patrick, who's had a stroke. She's having to look after him, and she's really feeling the pressure and has become a bit of an alcoholic.
Ooh.
Showing a different side and snapping at him, this poor helpless man with a stroke. She's kind of screaming at him. And, yeah, so that's basically that. Jane Beale at the top of the market. Ian Beale still strong at 8 to 1, and Abby Branning there as well. And my third tip, Lauren Branning, also around the 7 to 1 mark. So we're exactly where we want to be.
How do you eat an orange? Of course, you Beale it. That's the way you do it. What are we talking about? Well, we've done a bit of horse racing. We've done Miss World, a bit of X Factor, which I think the X Factor market's fascinating. NFL. Don't forget to listen to read his editorial, some good stuff, and Lucy Beale. So let's end with the traditional sports.
Yeah.
And loads of editorial on easyodds.com on the football. Simon Hopper last week banged in a 7 to 1 nap.
Yeah.
He tipped Newcastle to win it against Chelsea. No other tips from the country gave that, and there will be a Premier League video cast as well. But this man here, he is the king of Football League. He is the king of the lower divisions. We pay homage to him. Where are you going this week, sir?
Just to blow my own horn a little bit. Actually, last weekend I actually tipped Dover to beat Cheltenham at 17 to 4.
That's why you're the king.
So I was pretty pleased with that one in the FA Cup. But back to the league business for this weekend, and there's a huge game that features this man's team, Leeds United. And the big side story here, of course, is that Ross McCormack is heading back to Ellen Road after his £11 million move in the summer.
He's not done much, has he?
Well, this is quite interesting because on paper he hasn't done that much because he's only scored 4 goals, and at Leeds he was the out-and-out striker. So he scored, what was it, 26 goals last season for Leeds.
Yeah. So he was like the focal point.
He was the top scorer in the whole league. Okay. But at Fulham he actually plays wide, so he doesn't actually play up front.
Why do they play him wide?
Because they've got quite a few decent strikers. They've got young George Williams and Hugo Rodiego, of course.
That's why they're 18.
Which for the Championship is a decent strike force. And he plays out wide, and he's actually got 9 assists this season, which is actually pretty decent. But for £11 million, is it worth it? That's up to the choice of the chairman, isn't it? So, but yeah, he's going to be heading back there, and it'll be quite interesting to see how he actually performs, and also how the Leeds fans react to him. But I think there's better value than backing him to score a goal. As I say, he now plays wide, so he's not in the best of goal scoring opportunities. But his replacement at Leeds is Mirko Antonucci, who has actually proven to be a very good signing. He's actually scored 6 goals in his last 9 games and 8 all season. And he's going to be up against the comically dressed Gabor Kiraly in the Fulham goal, because Fulham last week got absolutely trounced 5-0. and their first choice keeper was sent off. So Karate came on and then let in a further 4 goals. So he clearly isn't in the best of form. So I think that Leeds will have a very good chance of at least scoring a goal. And Antonucci is the one who will probably do it. And at 2-1, I think that's a pretty good price.
Another odds against tip.
Yep.
From the man in form. In fact, the whole stable here in the lounge in form. Dunkers, what are you doing this weekend?
This weekend, celebrating a mate's birthday.
Really get hammered. And Rossi, what are you doing? Well, you're just going to get hammered in any case, aren't you?
I'm actually taking Hannah out for a Christmas present. We're going to go dress shopping on the Saturday to get her a nice dress, and then we're going to go to Sushi Samba, the restaurant on the big tower. So I'm pretty pleased with myself, I got to say.
What? Who would have guessed the Mad Dog was a romantic at heart?
And if Antonucci scores, then he's paying for it. So
yeah. Then they'll have cappuccino. Yeah, tremendous stuff, gentlemen. Thank you for your contribution. Have a great punting weekend. Don't forget to have a listen and a look at the Premier League video cast as well, and we'll be back next week. Minus this man who's taking his holidays, but we'll find some Tom, Dick or Harry to fill his place. Bye for now.